Hey kids, this is Mrs. Sweeney, and I'm going to show you a few pom-poms that I literally just made not that long ago, and a couple of new ways that I didn't even know you could try with forks. But this little itty-bitty tiny brown one I have here was made around a plastic fork, and then this medium-sized little red yarn pom-pom was made around a fork I searched really hard for and found that was a little bit bigger because the fork's bigger, and it has that little space in between the tines, which is crucial. And then the more old-fashioned way, I made this really huge pom-pom, which is actually my favorite one, really fluffy, and I made it around a piece of cardboard. Now, the old way I used to do it was I would just have like a square of cardboard, and I would just start wrapping quite a few times right around the center, and I would grab it, and I would like grab that whole bundle of yarn, pull it off, try to hold on to it while I had this extra string around, and I'd tie it. And that was pretty challenging. Sometimes I'd even snap it because it was so thick. So, found a better way. I was looking at some tutorials and ran across similar. They had a piece of cardboard, but notice it's a little bit longer. And there you cut a couple, I already have them, but a couple of notches. I was pretending now on both sides. And the trick is, then you get your yarn. Now I have like a really nice kind of bulky yarn here. Oh, and I would say make the yarn about 1, 2, maybe even 3 lengths of it, just to make sure you have enough. I'm going to snip it. Okay. And I'm going to, let me move that out of the way. I'm going to put it through the notches. Oops, let's see. There. And I'll just make sure it's pretty even. About halfway. There we go, that's good. And so that string is ready to go. And I'll just hold it like this. And I'm going to take a lot more of my yarn. I'm just going to hold on to it, and I'm going to start wrapping around the short side of it. Now, this from here to here was about 3.5 inches. It just happened to be a scrap that I already had. It'll make about a 3-inch pom-pom once you trim it. Now, I wasn't even counting. I'm going to try it approximately 50 times. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It doesn't have to be exactly 50. It's hard for me to talk and count at the same time. So this is approximately 50. We'll just go with that. And keep these out to the side there. And I'm going to go ahead and snip it. It's okay if it's less or more. In fact, you'll, figure out what you like. Now, remember that string is kind of caught underneath there. It got right in the middle of it all. So now I'm going to pull the string back out of the notches. And I'm going to give it a tie. Just kind of knot it. And get this one out there. And I'm going to do it pretty tight. I can just use my extra finger there to hold it, unless you have an extra person handy. And I'm going to try to get that super duper tight. So that was an extra knot on top of my old knot. Now I can slide it off. So that makes it easier. And it's already half done. And then I want to tie it on the other side. So I'm going to try to be careful. I don't want to lose it all. I'm going to turn it over. There we go. There, right there. So really I just ended up finishing off on the other side. I'm holding it down with my pinky because I want that to stay tight. Hopefully you can still see it here. Alright, so I did a little knot on top of a knot, double knot there. Get that cardboard off there. Alright, now keep a hold of those extra long strings there. That's why we had a little bit extra. And now we have a ton of loops here. Get some sharp scissors and hold on to those extra double strings there, because you might need those. Like if you're going to put this on, let's say, a toboggan or something that you knitted, then you'd want to keep these extra strings of yarn, because you might attach it to something that way. So don't lose them. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. Oh, these inside loops, notice they're shorter. It just has to do with when you're wrapping. The first few wraps are, kind of close to the cardboard, so they end up shorter. And then the big ones on the outside end up kind of long, but that's okay. You're going to trim however you want. So you just keep on finding the loops. Kind of stabbing at them here. I'm going to twirl this a little bit. I like to kind of knock them out of the way to see if there's any hiding down in there. Sometimes I even found one when I was doing my earlier pom-poms. Found one last loop I had forgot to get when I was trimming, so I did it then. I think I got them all. If not, I'll catch it later. Now, it's a little bit of a wild hairdo pom-pom. That's how they turn out, because it's like different lengths and stuff. But it will look more pom-pomish with the kind of filled in if you trim. So, yes, it is going to make it a little smaller. Like I said, this one was like, happened to be a 3.5-inch cardboard I was wrapping. So I'll end up, if I trim it close, it'll probably end up like a 3-inch pom-pom. It might not even matter to you what the measurement is, but just notice I'm kind of trimming off all the extra long pieces. Just kind of keep on turning it. It's okay to come back to the same area, to just like if you're getting a real haircut, come back and fix up a little part of it. On the underneath part, you gotta trim those back a little bit too. It does make a little bit of a mess. You can work over a trash can, I suppose, if you wanted to. There's some long ones. Shake it once in a while. Now you can see it's getting much more, I guess, roundish in a way. Now, of course, I could trim a little bit more if I wanted to. And if I wrapped it more, it would be thicker, a little bit tougher to tie, but that actually was pretty easy to tie. So, I mean, you could try 60, 70 times and see if you can get away with that to make it like a bit thicker. Also, if you trim it closer, it will fill in a little bit too. Of course, be smaller, but more filled in. I'm going to show you which one. I guess I'll try this one. I like this one because it has a big hole in between there. And I did use a thinner, like probably a number 4 worsted weight, a little bit thinner yarn. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to kind of hold it. Now, this fork is kind of slick. So I'm probably going to do, like, I'm not going to wrap it a bunch. If I wrap it too much right now, going fast like this, it'll start sliding off because it does kind of taper thinner. They'll want to slide towards the tips. You might find a perfect fork at home that's kind of real straight, kind of squared off looking, that isn't fancy like this, and I bet it'll work even better than this one. This just happens to be what I have here in the classroom right now that I happen to find. And I'm just kind of going to, oops, I see it's going to want to start sliding, so I'm going to go ahead and not push my luck. I'm going to go ahead and snip. Oops. I forgot to snip a length, so I need to get a piece. Let's see. So it's always best to have that ready, as you see why. I'm going to feed that through the middle tine or prong, the hole right there in between the middle. Bring it around. I can kind of let go now. And I'm going to, oops, lost one. Tie it, but you'll get the idea. There we go, got the middle. Tie it like that. Hold it with my extra finger so it's tight, good knot. And then pull it off, and oops, sticking to everything else. Now you can see, same way with the cardboard, there you go. So it's a cool trick, and I'm not gonna do the whole thing, but you can see that I can start nipping the same way I did the last one, getting all the loops all the way around, and you can see that that's how I made this pom-pom. Of course, this one has a good haircut like that. Okay, try one yourself, and you'll be surprised what you can make.